Sermon in a shaving kit. That's my shaving kit.
Running out of sacks. Keep disappearing.
Oh, it's the microphone.
Oh, wow.
Yes, this is a roughly 1950 ribbon microphone. These things were used a lot in, primarily, I guess these were used in radio.
It works.
Back in the day, and it works. In case you guys have not already seen, Eric had posted it. It's actually operational. Cool. Antiques. I saw an interesting news thing. Ray has either sinus infection or the flu or both, but Loki got up this morning barking at Jessie Anderson plowing my driveway, so she turned on the morning news. And I got up, and before I left, I sat down and had part of a cup of coffee. And I saw an interesting news story. You guys, do you people know who Kanye West is?
Yes.
Yes.
This generation does. You guys probably over here know who.
We wish we did.
He's probably the hottest thing in popular music right now. But he recorded a duet with a person that people over here, actually you guys are musically knowledgeable enough to know who it is when I tell you. But there's numerous posts on Tweet and Facebook about the new talent that he has discovered and is giving a chance to make a name for himself. He recorded a duet with a man named Paul McCartney.
Oh, wow.
Oh wow. These young kids don't know who Paul McCartney is.
I do. I do. I've heard the name. It's my brother-in-law's fault.
They have no understanding of the history of the music that they claim to listen to. Radio today. An awful lot of people working in radio, and certainly an awful lot of them listening to radio, wouldn't understand this thing at all. Because this is an antique. Right now everything's done differently. In fact, most of it is done digitally. A lot of it is done so that what you've got coming out over your radio wasn't even recorded in your town. It was recorded in LA or New York, and sent, they used to sometimes do recordings in LA and New York for radio and send them out on big old acetate records that they had to actually play the record. That isn't how it's done anymore. It's just all broadcast, satellites and everything. It's worthwhile to have some understanding of your history, to know a little bit about who you are. You might say, what does that have to do with us as Christians? Here's our history. We need to know it. We live in an age right now that sociologists are referring to in America as a post-Christian era. That means that Christianity is no longer the dominant force of our society. Christian culture is no longer the major cultural force of our society. And what that means in a lot of churches is that sometimes we have forgotten the history. Sometimes now it's a matter of what makes people feel good. Let's meet everybody's felt needs. Well, I agree, we try to meet felt needs, but the first thing we need to do is meet real needs. The first need that everybody has is to be introduced to Jesus. Not merely the Jesus of make everybody feel good, the Jesus of don't judge anyone, the Jesus of Scripture. When you ask the question, what would Jesus do? Realize that braiding together a whip of reeds and driving the money changers out of the temple is a valid response. That's not only what Jesus would do, that's what Jesus did. We need to remain doctrinally sound. We need to know our history. It has come to my attention from a few people that the Wednesday night study that we've been doing on Baptist Faith and Message is boring. If you're bored in knowing what it is we claim we believe, then get unbored. If it's boring because of my presentation, then you study it and you present it. But it's necessary that we know what we believe. It's necessary we know our history. It's necessary we have some understanding. If we're going to claim to love music, you've got to know who Paul McCartney is. If you're going to claim to love radio, you've got to have some understanding of what this is. If you're going to claim to love Jesus Christ, you need to know something about Jesus' history, about our church's history, about what it is we believe as Christians. Think about that in the coming days, weeks, months, and years.